What's up, guys? Nick Boone here. So we are headed to a 29 unit apartment complex right now. I'm gonna walk around with you guys, show you what it takes to sell an apartment complex, because there are a ton of moving parts in something like that. I mean, we're dealing with a buyer, a seller, escrow, inspectors, 29 tenants with kids and families, and this is right during the holidays, so it was insane. I'm gonna show you how to coordinate all that, what it looks like, what the timeline should be, kind of all the nuances that go with something like that. A lot of BS, a lot of back and forth, some negotiating in there, but I'll show you guys what it takes. So we're gonna hit that right now. I'll see you over there. All right, guys, so we are pulling up to the complex right now. A couple of things that I will tell you before we look at it. There's two big things that investors look at when looking to buy an apartment complex. First two things they're gonna ask you is the area and the condition. Those are gonna be the two things. And they rate them both on like a grade scale, like high school kind of. So there's really A, B, and C areas that most of the people look at. So this one we're going to right here is, I would say, a B area. It's not a terrible area. It's not the best area in Bakersfield, but it's a great area for an investment. You're gonna see some appreciation here year over year. You're gonna see rents be able to increase. You're gonna see a lot of stuff like that. So that's two of the things that they're gonna ask you for right away. How's the area? How's the condition? The condition also goes by that sliding scale of letters. So, you know, A condition, B condition, C condition. And C needs more than a little love. These are definitely in B plus, A minus conditions. Again, B area. So they're a great investment. When the investor originally purchased these 6 years ago, he paid 1.5 for it, and we're selling it for 2.4 6 years later. So, solid return. All right, guys, so we're here at the complex right now. There are 7 buildings behind me. Most of them are fourplex buildings, so this one right here is gonna be 4 individual units. And this is the complex that the investor bought for 1.5 6 years ago. So I'm going to take you through how to sell a property like this, what even goes into that. We're going to walk through, kind of show you the outside. We're not going to go inside any properties right now because they're all tenant occupied, so can't take you inside, but let's go take a walk. So we're here right now in the middle of the courtyard. I'll talk a little bit about what we need to do to sell something like this. So the investor came to me, he said he wanted to sell the property as a whole and what I thought that we could list it for, how much it would be worth. When you're selling an apartment complex, the only thing that really is gonna matter to an investor, how much money they're gonna make. So it goes off a cap rate. How much money will this property produce if you bought it? So on a single family home, most of the time you'll use comps. You'll say, hey, this house is similar, sold for this amount, that's why my house is worth this. This goes more so off of the income. So if you look at properties that have similar income, that's what you're gonna base this sales price on, is that income. So it's a little bit different, but kind of the same ideology, just only looks at income. And then obviously the condition in the area, those two things too. So right now, guys, we're in the original Grand Theft Auto alley where you have to steal that motorcycle. No, I'm just kidding. It kind of does look like that. So right now we're in the middle of the complex. So there's buildings over here. There's buildings right behind me. This is kind of the center. The alley kind of divides all the buildings. So right now we'll talk a little bit about how do you sell something like this? Like, this is crazy. 29 tenants, the owner, the seller, the new buyer, and I'm representing everybody. So I have the property management side, I have the sales side, I have the listing side, I have all that stuff in one office, so it's kind of crazy. So the first thing that had to happen was the seller had to sign the listing agreement. We had to agree on a price. Here's what I think this property could sell for. Let's see what happens. So we listed on the market at 2.4 million, 29 units, pretty solid in California, great return, and immediately had a ton of interest. My email was blowing up, people were calling my phone, it was nuts. So we were like, great, we're at a perfect price. We should get some offers at or above asking. And within, I think, 5 days, we sold it above asking price. So a ton of interest on this property. So once we got the offer accepted on this property, then we had to do all of the inspections, go through with the appraiser, the lender, the buyer, all kinds of people. Because keep in mind that this guy made an offer at 2.4 million without seeing the inside of anything. Pretty crazy. He came to town, he lives out of town. We met with the home inspector, a plumber, the appraiser, a roof guy, a ton of different people in and out of these tenants' properties. So on one day, it was from 8 to 5, it was the longest day of the whole process. It's terrible, but we're walking through. We're probably 8 people deep walking through these tenants' properties. And keep in mind, they're like 800-900 square foot properties with 8 people in and out of it. So it's like standing room only. Like, I'm trying to get by people like this. They're looking at their own inspections thing. So I kind of just chill in the back, wait, let them do their thing, ask me questions, go from all there. So after all that comes in, the buyer's gonna review all the reports, look at everything, see if there's any repairs that he needs to ask for, what needs to happen to the property, anything out of the ordinary that he needs to have done, either for the loan, from the home inspector that he's just not comfortable with, all that. So then you negotiate those repairs, see what makes sense, and then that's that whole negotiation process all over again. So my job in all of that is to make sure the buyer's being reasonable in his repairs, the seller's being reasonable in what he'll give, and both parties are happy with the end result. So now we're in front of some of the other buildings. As you can see, everything's well maintained, but then through the course of escrow, keep in mind, we're also managing this property. So we're dealing with tenant repairs still, moving tenants in and out, giving notices to all these tenants, coordinating with all of these inspectors. It is a ton of work, you guys. But with all that comes great reward. So I got to get the commission for the listing, the buying, and I'm retaining property management on the property. So once we close, the new owner is going to retain us for management still. So it's a win-win-win, win-win, win-win for everyone. So the thing that most people don't realize is because we're managing it, listing it, selling it, and doing everything with that, comes a ton of coordination, not only just with the inspectors, but with everything in the entire process. So it's a lot to do for one company because we're coordinating repairs, who's going to pay for them. If an owner approves a repair before we close, but it gets done after we close, who covers that bill? You know, so it's things like that where it's like, it's really weird to have the departments talking to one another, making sure that everything's cut, clean, clear, and doesn't get interrupted by transfer of owners. Because the tenants have no idea. They're gonna still pay the same company, call the same company. We're just changing ownership and having a new owner for the property, but the management's staying the same. So they don't really need to be too involved other than letting us into the property. So in something like this, you know, where you have to deal with getting all the keys for tenants, coordinating with every single one of them, and sometimes the keys don't work. The home inspectors need to get in all 29 building units, so that's a lot for a home inspector to do in one day. Thankfully, I don't have to walk through all of them in one day because that would be a really long day for me, but I have to coordinate it all and I have to work with my team and their teams to get everything handled. So that's it, guys. It's honestly just a ton of coordination, working to know what's to be expected and preparing all of the tenants and clients and vendors that you're working with what to expect. That's honestly the biggest part of everything. If you know what to expect, you can tell them what to expect so that when something happens, it's not this huge fiasco of this is going crazy, I had no idea this is going to happen. It's expected. You're setting the expectations for them, and that's the biggest part. So once you sell something like this, it's really just the rinse and repeat cycle, because on the next building that I sell, it's going to be X number of units, the same sale, the same type of process, coordinating all of that and getting everything in line. So obviously the more that you do it, the better that you'll be at it, but on something like this is a great sell. It's a great add to the new investor's portfolio. The seller is getting exactly what he wants out of it, so everyone in this transaction is winning. They're going to have a great end result and be happy with the results. So if you have any questions, you guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have questions on how to sell one of these. If you're just getting into it and wondering what you need to do on coordination or what you can do to help yourself, let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have and go over a more in-depth process of how to do this, because I went over the brief parts, but there's a ton to it. So let me know if you have any of those questions. I'll be happy to comment and let you know. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you on the next video. Let me know if you have any questions.